Magic 102.1, the People's Station on the Manhattan Classic Joints and Convos is what we have. Free Smith is here from the group Entouch or Touch. It just depends. I know you can give me all the history on that because I know there was Absolutely. A Touch at first. There was, it seemed like when the group first started as Touch, it was 4, maybe 3 guys. And then by the time we get to Elektra Records, it's 2 guys. So tell me what happened with all that, bro.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, first we were Touch. And, well, to be quite honest, when Touch first started, we was like Earth, Wind, and Fire. There was like 8 of us.
Oh, really?
But only 4 survived by the time we got a deal. Which and all that happened like wild quick. Like I met Eric, and we just started writing every day. And he already had some songs, and he was working in the Jingle House at the time, so we had a place to record. So we went in there and knocked out some demos. They met the icon house music legend Timmy Regisford. Well, this music legend Timmy Regisford in an elevator, slid on the tape, and that's what led to our first deal with Supertronics Records. And Without You came out, and it just blasted off like real quick. You know what I mean? So that's how that part happened. And I was the only one. A lot of people don't know Eric is literally one of the pioneers of hip hop. He was one of the Infinity. He was one of the Infinity 4 rappers with Grand. Well, now he's the Grand Mixer, DXT. Now he was DST back then, and he was on the first hip hop tour that ever went to Europe with the Infinity 4 rappers. And at the same time, I was working with a group called A Limited Touch that had 2 really big hits, I Hear Music in the Street.
And I'm about to say, I Hear Music in the Street. Okay.
Yeah. I was touring with them when I was 13.
Wow.
So they took me on the road. I was running around the Bronx wilding, ran into some ugliness. And 2 of the cats from the group was from my neighborhood in the Bronx. And they went to my mom's basically and was saying, yo, let us get them out of here. And they took me on the road. And my mother was like, she was the woman she was. I was like, you know what? This is the best move for him. Made sure all my schooling and all that was intact while I was on the road and all that. Wow. And once I got in the door, I never looked back, bro. You know what I mean?
Well, y'all, so man, this is some interesting history because I thought the group was originally a house music group, but what you say now, y'all was an amalgamation of hip hop and
absolutely
happened to make a house track, and that took off first, or what?
Yeah. Well, what happened was, I started going places like Studio 54, the Garage, Bonds International, Bentleys when I was 13, 14. Wow. Hopefully it's too late for anybody to get in trouble. But they all knew me because I worked for Unlimited Touch. So, I was able to walk in any club. So I was already going to the Garage. I was already going to Bonds. I was already going to Studio 54. And that was pretty much where the New York version of house music was birthing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I was hearing that from the beginning. But at the same time, I had my first record deal when I was 16, and I was a rapper. Eric was a rapper. The other 2 guys who were in the group, Commissioner Gordon, who's like 7 Grammys deep now. He engineered and co-produced Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Wow.
He did Santana, Supernatural, Leela James. Had a big early hand in Hers career. Like, Gordon's a legend. Wow. Commissioner Gordon is a legend. And the other brother, give a shout to Sean Barrow, had one of the most soulful tones ever. And that was the 4 that we started with. I'm sorry, I know I'm jumping around in quantum.
No, but that's good because I like the history. So you good. Keep doing what you do.
So, and where I grew up, it's called the Valley in the Bronx. And we had a park where I grew up called Valley Park. Haffen Park is the original name, but we renamed it Valley Park. And it was like the Madison Square Garden of jams. And I'm talking like 78, 77, 79, 80. Like everybody. If you didn't play Valley Park, you didn't count. So everybody played there. Cold Crush 4, Grandmaster Flash Furious 5, Breakout in the Funky 4 plus 1 more. But they were from Uptown too. You know what I mean? Okay. So it was like we were all there when hip hop got birthed, when it got slapped on the ass, if I could say that.
Yeah.
And so it's very much part of my fabric, my DNA, and Eric's as well.
Wow, amazing. Side note, since we can sidetrack, there was a group that I think y'all produced or artist, and I'm not sure the name. Was it I will. Oh my! Take Me to the House. Was it Jine? Jine?
First of all, how do you know about that record?
Because I was in college, man, and house music. I had a roommate from Chicago, bro.
Well, first of all, it's Gene.
Is how you say it?
Gene.
Gene.
That's how. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
okay. Never knew that. We've been saying John since for like 30 plus years.
Yo, I didn't see that one coming, and that's my big brother. That's
big brother, like for real, big brother.
That's the person who taught me everything I know about music.
Oh,
that's
wow.
my big brother. So when I got put on, we brought him on.
That was a big house music record, man.
He has no idea, and I'm sure that he would love to know that. But yeah, man, that was my big brother Gene. Like how I play 7 instruments, and how I started playing is that my brother played, and he didn't let me touch his stuff, but he would make me listen to Mandrill, Funkadelics, Crown Heights Affair, who were also my mentors. Nice. All them joints from the 70s. He made me a Prince fan from the time I was 9 years old or 10 years old. You know what I mean? And so but I couldn't touch his joints. So I used to play hooky from school and sit at home and learn how to play Prince records and learn how to play, Funkadelic records, Mandrill, Curtis Mayfield. And that's how I learned to play. So he's totally responsible for my life when it comes to that.
Gotta ask, does he still do music? Is he still making moves, or did he get out the game? And I'm not even put out anything past that record, to be honest.
He got out the game years ago. After that first single, I don't think he liked the attention. I don't think he liked the business. Shit, right. I don't like the business. But
no doubt.
It's just a matter of being a survivor. You know what I mean? And doing what you had to do. It's my skill set.
Right.
If it wasn't for this, very well could have seen me on America's Most Wanted. So, it was music or bust.
I got you. So the record does well without you. This record is a hot record. I was totally confused when all of a sudden the group it went to Electra and they was doing R&B. What happened?
But you see, we still kept a house joint on the album.
Right, but y'all, it seemed like y'all got away from okay, we done with that. We moving on to this.
Well, it was all part of us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but when we did, and to be quite honest, we toured more globally off of Without You than we did off of Too Hyped and All Night.
Really?
Because Without You was a global hit. You know what I mean? I mean, we touched some other countries with Entouch as well, but Without You, I think one of our very first gigs was in Berlin. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. And, we playing these huge crowds who know all the songs, and we're like, huh? You know what I mean? Because you got to remember, Without You came out, dog, we were 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
We was babies. You know what I mean? So we didn't know from nothing. So, yeah, man, it was definitely 2 separate lives. Without You, you would do lots of club gigs. So we would play like a Zanzibar in Jersey, Garage and Bentley's, and then also in Brooklyn all in one night. You know what I mean? So at the end of a weekend, we have I used to carry around this little toiletry bag that would be so full of money that I could even close it. But you didn't know how to appreciate it or understand it then. You know what I mean? So, but that is touch was a thing unto itself, and it still is. I went to a house party. Actually, I helped promote a house party in Harlem twice a month at a place called Row House Harlem. Mm-hmm. And underneath they have a club that we call the Underbar. We do a party called the Powder Room. And the DJ played Without You, and there was this energy in the room, and everybody sung every word. Like I've been gigging a lot by myself, and it's basically I play hype man to my own shit. I'll do the opening line, and the crowd does everything else for you. You know what I mean? Real talk, and they're happy to. It can almost make you emotional. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's and that's what happened this past Saturday night. They played it. I picked up the mic. I did all I said was got to get you back into my life, and they took it from there.
Yeah, they did the rest.
So yeah, that it's very huge, and it's one of the reasons. Not the quantum leap, but it's one of the reasons why I'm back in the house genre now. Because there's several reasons. One, you know, house music is colorless. House music, not tech. House music is colorless. It's ageless. No one cares how old you are. No one cares when was your last joint on Billboard. All they care about is that record that's out at that moment makes them release. You know, I liken house music very much to gospel because it seems to do something to people spiritually. You watch them people on the dance floor, the whole world could be on their neck when they walk in. When they're on that dance floor, it's all gone. So that's one of the reasons I went back to it. And I've been producing like CeCe Rogers for years. His past 4 albums I co-produced.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, I've had chances to work with Byron Stingley. Shit, I wish I was working with Byron Allen. Byron Stingley from 10 City. Elias, Follow Me. Keith Thompson's my man.
Wow.
Straight. We all been doing a mini kind of tour together on and off called You Gotta Have House, given by my man Kev Ski. And we all did the Tom Joyner cruise together a couple of years ago. That was dope.
Really? With house music?
Yeah, house music. And this is the thing that bugged me out. A lot of people from Houston was on that cruise. And they would show up to the house party. And I didn't even know there was a house movement in Houston.
Well, I'm here and I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know about that either. But this is a big city. It's a big city.
And they knew all the songs. I was like, yo. Yeah, it was dope. It was dope.
So how do y'all translate? Okay, I know you say on the album you still put a house cut on there, but did somebody convince y'all to go a more R&B route?
It just naturally happened. Like, you gotta remember, Eric lived on the corner of Mount Vernon, right? A corner of South 6th Street. Al B. Shaw lived 15 steps away from Eric. Like, his house was literally right across the street.
Wow.
Up the block was Hev and Eddie and them. On the other side was Pete Rock and them. You know what I mean? Wow. Puff was not Diddy, but Puff was a little bit up the other way. And with me, Christopher Williams been one of my best friends since I was in kindergarten, first grade. Like, all of us kind of grew up around each other and together. You know what I mean?
So was that the wave at that point? Did y'all just feel the wave was going in that direction? That's where you went, or
it just came out? We were still doing house joints, but I mean, to be, complete transparency, we were a little, I won't say rubbed the wrong way or disillusioned with the label we were on, that they're independent Supertronics. But there was a little bidding war for us. Like after Without You and Fixation, because Fixation did really well too. After those two singles, the label was having their problems. Gordon decided he wanted to be a producer engineer. Sean went his own way. So me and Eric just started binge writing songs. And people were looking for us that we didn't know. Timmy Regisford wanted us to come to MCA. When he heard the new stuff we was doing, and on that demo tape, All Night was on there, Too Hype was on, Two Steps to the Right was on there. He wanted us to come to MCA, but he wanted us to be part of that whole Gene Griffith and Teddy Riley thing. And Teddy is my man. He's one of my idols. But we produced and wrote ourselves. And then we met. I got word. Some cats called me like, yo, I was in the barbershop with Vincent Davis, who owned Entertainment Electra. Yeah. Who had Keith, had Joski Love, Pee Wee Herman, all that. He put out word he was looking for us. So we went and took a meeting with him. And him and Timmy started a little bidding war. But Vincent was like, y'all could write and produce all your own stuff.
So you got to go there.
That's how we ended up. The money didn't even matter at that point. We had to be able to express ourselves. But, we were a hybrid. We were hip hop. We was house. But we were musicians, Not that we were as talented as musicians as them. But I really likened ourselves to like an East Coast Tony. You know what I mean? I heard all the influences, Growing up, my biggest influences were like Prince, Sly and the Family Stone, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Rakim. To this day, he will always be the best rapper who ever lived.
Agreed.
Who else? Joni Mitchell. I mean, these are the people that influenced me. So this is all the stuff that came out in me musically, and Eric had his own set of influences. You know what I mean? So it came out on that Entouch album, And to be complete honest with you, you know what song inspired Too Hype? You'll never know by listening to it. But Just Coolin' by Levert.
I'm trying to hear I'm trying to hear if there's any.
If I could find the first version of Too Hype and send it to you, then you will be able to hear it. It morphed into being the hybrid that it turned out to be. You know,
there's
there was
a lot going on in that track. It's like a b-boy track. I mean, it's hip hop. It's R&B. It's new jack. Samples. The funny thing is, it seems that song is bigger than All Night, even though chart-wise, All Night is the biggest song. But I think more people, like I said, when I say Too Hype, they immediately remember that one faster. Than you got to sing all night and do all kind of stuff. You can just say Too
All Night was so R&B. Well, you got to remember, there was no predecessor to Too Hype. Nothing sounded like Too Hype before Too Hype. You know, think about Poison came after Too Hype.
Did you right? Yeah.
You best believe Viv and them heard that joint and was like, we can do that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And
making that track, since you brought it up, and you're right, it was a different sounding track for that period. What was it? And did y'all guys know that it would be what it became?
You know when it really hit me? When we were mixing it. Because Too Hype went through maybe 3 or 4 stages, and by the time we were mixing it, like, first of all, everybody thinks the drums on there are all samples. They're not. That's Pumpkin, king of the beats, the first hip hop super producer ever, who did all that stuff on Enjoy, all the early Mo D, Treacherous 3 records.
He played the drums on that?
Yes.
I did not know. Wow.
We had him come in and we sampled him.
Wow. Dope.
Because we wasn't, I mean, even though people wasn't killing you for samples yet, we knew it was coming. I wasn't trying to have James Brown on my ass, my dude. You know what I mean? So we had him play the beat to Say It Loud over and over, and then we programmed over it.
Wow, nice.
And the guitar parts you hear on there are part samples and part played. It's like it's a real hybrid. We did musician wise what the Bomb Squad was doing with their samples with Public Enemy and all that. You know, just not quite as chaotic.
At the height of the success of In Touch, man, how crazy did it get for y'all?
It was a love-hate thing for me. Like, I love being on stage. To this day, I'm a performer. I've always been. I started performing on stages in bars and stuff when my mother put me on the bar at a place called the Boston Road Ballroom in the Bronx. And I would get up there and sing and dance and do Michael Jackson songs when I was like 5, 6 years old. You know what I mean? So I've always loved performer. Eric was the front man because he was the better singer. I'm the one who kept the energy up. You know what I mean? I was like, I guess like the musician hype man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we had the perfect balance. Me and him have the perfect balance. To this day, when we hop on stage, it's like we did it yesterday. You know what I mean? And I was getting ready to tell you something else about Too Hype that most people don't know. Oh, when I wrote it, because I wrote the lyrics and melody to Too Hype. And I'll never forget, I was in my bedroom in the Bronx writing it. And I was like, yo, this is the corniest shit ever. Put on my best. Can't believe that she said yes. This is so elementary, but you got to keep in mind, I'm a Joni Mitchell and Prince fan. So, you know, I'm always looking for the deepness or the line that people got to sit there, smoke a blunt, and then finally figure out what it really means. You know what I mean? So I called Eric and I sung it to him over the phone to the beat. And he was like, what are you, crazy? Don't change a word. That's it. That is it. And crazy thing about it, to this day, the first verse of Too Hype is more popular than the name of the group. It is more popular than the hook. It's more popular than the Sookie Sookies. All you have to say to somebody is, put on my best, can't believe. And they'd be like, that was my joint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I thought it was corny as hell. I really did. I was like, this is
it's always the people that write the songs that have these quirks with the songs that they've made that everybody else adores. But it's always interesting to hear.
But I hate it without you too at first. I hate it without you.
You said, did you just say you hate it without you?
I hate it without you.
Oh no, man. As soon as the joint comes on,
I hate again, it was so simple to me. You know what I mean?
I think that's the beauty of that record, right? No,
you know what it is? Everybody feels like they could sing it. You listen to Eric's vocal on it has the DNA that everybody feels like they can sound exactly like him when they sing.
I think that's, you know what, and I think that's a testament to the group as well, because it does give the appearance that he's kind of laid back and he doesn't over sing on a track. So you feel like you can sing
better.
As good as this guy that's singing the track. Probably couldn't, obviously, but
and he can sing way better than he does on Without You. Well, you can hear it a little bit on Too Hype, and you can definitely hear it on Two Steps to the Right. That he, Eric can sing, you know what I mean? But he dumbed it down so perfectly. And again, that was real early. He wasn't supposed to sing Without You. Sean was supposed to sing Without You.
Oh wow!
But Sean kept over singing it, and Eric was like, "Yo, let me show you how it should go." And once he did that vocal, we was like, "Yo, that's it. That's that."
And you just left it.
Yeah.
Wow. How often do y'all go on the road these days, man? Are y'all still out there performing a lot? Or y'all like, eh?
Eric will come out when he's in the mood. Like, Eric does a lot of meditative music, and he's doing really well with that. He has like $100,000 studio in his house. He's recently remarried. He ain't trying to come outside if he don't have to.
I dig it.
And Eric was never crazy about the performing thing. I mean, we had fun, but once he got it out of his system, I love being on stage. I'm a ham on stage. I don't particularly want to have a conversation with everybody when I walk off, and not out of rudeness. It's just I'm a Pisces, man. So we're extroverts.
I'm a Pisces too. I understand. I'm a Pisces too.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I totally get it.
We want everybody to know we're in the room, but that don't mean we want all the attention in the room. You know what I mean?
Boy, you just summed up Pisces perfectly.
You know what I mean? We love to be alone, hate to be lonely. You know what I mean?
Damn, I love it.
So yeah.
I steal that line from you right there.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the truth of who we are. We're extremists in the most possible way. We either all the way left, right, or all the way right. Our biggest problem is balance. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So Eric will come out sometime. Like he came out and did the Tom Joyner thing. We did a show in Atlanta. We'll pop out when it's right, and it's like if our friends are on the show, they're like, "Yo, we haven't seen him in a while. Let's pop out and do that."
Gotcha.
And then we'll get people want us some people want us to come from Without You. Some people want us to come because of Too Hype. Some people want us to come because of All Night. Some people want us to come because of Crazy for You and Two Steps to the Right.
So when y'all do shows, are y'all doing all of it, or you just they want an In-Touch show, they want a Touch show?
We had different shows. We have different shows for different when we know what region we're going to or what kind of show it is, we know what to do. You know what I mean? Gotcha. Some songs will be a melody. I'm sorry if you hear dogs barking, but there's obviously somebody at my front door.
No,
and my dogs have delusion themselves and they thinking they're killers. So we basically know ahead of time. Okay, this is a Too Hype all night show, or if we're playing like someplace in Texas, or if we're doing a show like in Kansas City or someplace like that. Like we had no idea that Two Steps to the Right was such a big record in that region.
Yeah, I gotta check on that, man. I didn't even know that myself, to be honest with you. So I gotta 30 years.
It's a ballad on the album that I wrote, and I wrote it to be kind of facetious for a girl who I was going to do some stuff with at the time.
Yeah.
And that's another time Eric was like, I sat there at the piano and sang it and played it for him, and he was like, "Yo, you wildin'. That's that joint right there." I'm like, "For real?" I was just writing it to get her out my system. And and it ended up being one of people's favorites. Like I always get stuff on YouTube or on IG or Facebook. Yeah, why wasn't that a single? I'm like, ask Vincent Davis.
Overall, when it comes to the music business, and this is the part that nobody ever likes, you are all. I mean, for all practical purposes, with being with Mr. Davis, that was an independent, even though it went through Elektra. How would you say your experience? How did you receive that experience?
I just want to be very careful with my words.
Absolutely.
I will always have a love for Vincent Davis because he is absolutely the reason why I'm the producer I am now.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me free reign in the studio. Like, he would just book studio time for me, and I would go in there for 20 hours a day. Like, my engineers hated me. And again, Prince is my idol. And in my mind, I had to work as hard as Prince.
Mm.
So, you know, we work all night at 7 a.m. I'm like, fresh tape. They're like, what? You know what I mean? I actually had an engineer start crying on me once. Like, really teared up because I wanted to start a new song at like 8 in the morning. You know what I mean? And he gave me the freedom to do that.
Okay.
But on the other side, you know, my biggest qualm with Vincent, I used to be like, yo, maybe you don't even know how to dance. How can you tell me how a beat is supposed to feel?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I did.
I've always been that big dude that could do stuff that I shouldn't be able to do. You know what I mean? Like, I could dunk and I had no business dunking. You know, you seen the dance moves in Too Hype. People in the video, you know, I could always jump really high. I was always super flexible. You know what I mean? So I was a dancer. You know what I mean? Speaking of Eddie F, you know, not that me and Heavy even had a conversation about it, but if we knew we was on the same show, we both danced extra hard that night. Like, which one of the big boys? Which one of the big boys is going to win this dance title tonight? You know what I mean? You know, I was very much inspired by him. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it was like, you know, dude. You know,
could you have imagined doing anything else besides what you have continued to do up to this date?
Only other thing I ever did outside of this, I ran the music division for Lizzie Grubman. I don't know if you know who Lizzie is. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the biggest PR people on the globe. And her father is Alan Grubman. That name got to ring a bell.
Didn't they run the what's the other little record label?
Nope, never ran. He's probably the most powerful lawyer in entertainment.
Okay, gotcha.
He's the first lawyer ever inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And Lizzie is one of the biggest PR. I mean, I hate to make you remember her like this, but you remember early 2000s, super socialite, rich white girl got arrested for running over a bunch of people at the club in the Hamptons. If you Google Lizzie's name,
she would be involved in that, I guess is what you're trying to say.
And yeah, well, they said she did it. She didn't do it, but they said she did it. But wow. I mean, but she was hugely responsible for the crossover of Puff, Jay-Z, Lil Kim, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears. Like, she's that chick.
Wow. Okay.
And in the early 2000s, she was the queen. She even had her own TV show on MTV at one point. Really? Anyway, yeah. And I ran her music division for 10 years. The only other thing I ever did it outside of, I mean, and that was still music.
Right.
But other than that, that's the only thing I ever did outside of music that was legal anyway. So you know what I mean? It's music's been my entire life. I've always had people tell me, yo, you really lucky because you always known what you wanted to do. And yes, you was willing to do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to do it so bad that I was a bad victim. And sometimes I have to remember, like, you know, you earned this of imposter syndrome. I thought I was tricking people. I'll never forget, we did Madison Square Garden. And with Eddie and Heavy and them, it was us, Heavy, Christopher Williams, Guy. Like, this was a big show. And I felt like I tricked people by being on that stage. Like, I did some con job. You know what I mean? It took for the momentum to slow down for me to understand, like, yo, you bring something to the table that only you can bring to the table.
Yes.
And that's what I try to tell kids who want to be in this game. Like, yo, if you got there, some way of fashion, you deserve to beat it.
That's right.
You know, and don't let nobody ever tell you any different.
Salute on that. Now, you say you still doing music. You're about to drop a single. What's the deal with that, bro?
Well, this is my 4th single from this project.
Okay.
It's deep soulful house music. You know what I mean? It's that Louis Vega, Terry Hunter. I'm on them lines. You know what I mean? And in a weird way, it was kind of Louis Vega who put the battery in my back, because I don't know if you know, but on his album like 3 years ago, he redid "I Hear Music in the Street" with the original members of Unlimited Touch.
Really, I did not know that. That's incredible.
And you know, they're still, you know, my big brothers and big sisters to this day.
And they
I'm
still
still a
out
little
there
free.
doing it too. Unlimited Touch is still out there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they still tour. They tour through Europe periodically. It's early,
Wow.
man.
Okay.
Periodically, they still tour. And you know, Audrey's married to Will Downing. Audrey Will Downing.
I didn't know none of this. This is amazing.
Yeah, and she tours with Chaka Khan. Like she's her background coordinator. She's been touring with her for like 25 years.
That's great.
And yeah, Phil, the guitar player, Anita Baker, Luther Vandross, God bless the dead. Tony Cintron, the amazing jazz drummer, salsa drummer, like everybody. Sandy, who's purely responsible for getting me in the business, he brought me to rehearsals until they said, "Yo, let's hire this kid." He passed, COVID got him. But and my brother is the one who inspired him to play bass. Wow. So you know, it's all tied in. And then he dragged me in the game. And Lenny Underwood, the keyboard player, who's played with everybody, he mentored me as a songwriter. So you know, and then we had Crown Heights Affair, who mentored all of us, because that's who produced the Limited Touch, because they were the hottest producers in the early 80s. They had the Limited Touch. They had the Strikers,
Body Music. Okay.
They had French Jolie, and then I was around Kenny Nick. Yeah, and they had Kenny Nicks in them, and that was like their go. Oh, he also did "There's Nothing in the World."
Kenny Nicks,
he was part of that crew.
Wow.
So, yo, dog, I'm a 14-year-old kid. I was in the studio when they did
all this. That's crazy.
I was in the studio when they did Heartbeat. I was in the studio when they did Funky Sensation.
Come on, man. Don't tell me something like that.
I was sitting in there when first time I ever seen artificial hand claps. Kenny Nicks was just pressing a button on a Heartbeat. I didn't even know that existed yet.
Wow.
And I'm around these cats.
Bro, you need to write a book, man. You've been around so many of these classic songs, these classic artists, and a lot of this history. And the reason why I do this too, man, because a lot of this history is quietly, I don't want to say it's being erased, but it's not being remembered in a way that I think it should be remembered.
Agreed.
When you talk to somebody like you with so much information about you like can go deeper into it. Like some of the people may not know who the producer of the Taana Gardner Heartbeat record is, but a kid like me that's looking at the producer's credits on the record, I do know. And I just think a lot of their history, not necessarily, like I said, not being erased, but it's definitely not being remembered or talked about.
Yeah, I mean, yo, listen, man, Kenny Nicks, he you know, that whole era was called boogie because it was after disco and it was before house. So, you know, there was a lot of hits like Sky, Call Me, you know, Slave was considered funk boogie.
Yeah.
Speaking of Slave, I was in the studio. Like a lot of people thought that was Mark Adams playing bass on Inside Out. Remember that joint by Odyssey?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't Slave.
It sounded like it was a Slave record. What watching was it? Watching you sounded like.
Yeah, Jimmy Douglas.
Which one came first, or who took what from whom?
Well, the same producer did both, Jimmy Douglas. So I guess Slave was on tour, and they knew Sandy could play just like Homie from Slave. So they had him and Lenny Underwood play keyboards, and I was the tag along. I carried the basses, I carried the keyboard, whatever I had to do to be in the room. And to be quite honest, how I got into it, I was already selling weed when I was 13, 14. Wow. So they didn't have to go no place for weed for, you know, all the other producers and stuff. I was like, I got you. So I was in the room, I was making money, and I was soaking up what I really wanted to do.
Did you realize you was looking at all this history going on, or you
no,
having a good time?
Hell no, had no idea. I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Right.
But again, I had that imposter syndrome. Like I'm not even supposed to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. So it's It's been a wonderful ride. And I mean, I wouldn't change nothing, good or bad, that has happened, because, I believe that, God set it up for us almost like a video game. No matter where we turn, the path is going to lead us to the path. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So I wouldn't change nothing. And I mean, I made some amazing friends through the years. You don't make a lot of industry friends that last. You know what I mean? Like Dougie Fresh will always be like my brother, because he also made it possible for me to work with Prince.
Wow.
And anybody who knows me knew that was it. That was my goal. Put me on a Prince record. That's all I wanted. And I played guitar on the Prince record, and he kept my guitar tracks.
Really?
Imposter Syndrome's over from that point on.
What song did he put you on?
There's a song called "Come On" from the new Power Soul album.
Wow.
And
Prince got to really respect you if he putting you on the album, bro.
Well, I mean, how it happened was Dougie and Prince were really close friends. And a lot of people don't realize Dougie was part of the New Power generation for a while. He was touring with them.
Yeah.
Like Prince called Dougie his coach. That's how much respect he had for him on the stage. And there's no doubt about it. Very few people kill a stage like Dougie. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And you know exactly what he's going to do and how he's going to do it, and it makes no difference.
Yeah.
It's like it's brand new every time. That's
the 80s till now. His show is still one of the best shows that you can ever see. Yeah.
So he asked Dougie to do a remix to one of the songs, and Dougie was like, "Nigga, I kind of beatbox." He was like, "Yo, put your crew together, and everybody who knows me knows that I've always been like the biggest Prince fan, studier, musicologist when it comes to him ever." So he called me and was like, "Yo, want to do this Prince remix with me?" And that's how it happened.
Wow.
It was me, Dougie, Chill Will, my man Butter, and I played keyboards and guitar on it, and he kept my keyboards track and he kept my guitar. Keyboards track, that's cool. And I rearranged his hook, and he kept the way I rearranged it. I added extra vocals and everything, and he kept all that. There's a song with him and Chaka Khan called "Come On." You go on YouTube and look for "Come On," the fresh mix.
Okay,
that's the joint.
Man, you're a wealth of like history, man. I hope you write this down or do something, man. You've been connected to so many people. Again, I just don't want to see a lot of this stuff get lost, because a lot of people like you have it up here, but people like me, we ain't heard all these stories. So I'm hoping
this is why you do the show.
Yeah, no doubt.
To capture these moments, you know what I mean?
Sure, right.
I'm in the early stages. I don't want to talk about it too much until it's cemented, but I'm in the early stages of doing a podcast myself, but strictly about house music.
Okay.
With the house music artists. Because there's a lot of house podcasts, but it's usually DJs playing for an hour or two. No one is talking about the culture. No one's talking about the warehouse in Chicago, Frankie Knuckles, Jesse Saunders, Marshall Jefferson, who's also one of my mentors. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then no one's talking about the New York side of it. You know what I mean? Larry Levan, you know what I mean? Louis Vega, Masters at Work, all of them, and interviewing these people, because again, we were like the babies of the crew, and they all kind of nurtured us. Because again, without you, I told you, it was 19, 20, 21 Without You came out, and our very first gig ever was in the Paradise Garage, bro. That was our very first gig.
Nice.
And I mean, and that's like, that's the Super Bowl for house music at that time. and Larry Levan was very responsible. Him, Timmy Regisford on the radio, and Larry Levan in the Garage. They broke Without You. They're the ones who made it what it was, with the help of Tony Humphries, who's also a legend in it. And again, I jumped off of this, but Louis Vega put the battery in my back when he was doing the Unlimited Touch thing. I went to the studio to hang out. And he was like, "Yo, why are you not doing house?" And it was kind of funny because, I'm a big dude. I'm kind of tall. And Louis is a small guy. And he's looking up at me like in a very loving way. Like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Like, y'all invented, because Without You was the first really mainstream house record. it was the only house joint that you heard, you know, cats from the block, the cats that was moving to work, they had it blasted in their cars. To this day, they say we ruined the Paradise Garage because, you know, the cats from the hood started coming there when Without You came out. You know, like Touch is playing at the garage. You couldn't even get on the block.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So and he's like, y'all started something and y'all kicked open a lot of doors. You should still be doing this. And use that bass sound that you used on Without You. And it was like, and that's kind of led, and that was 2020. So during pandemic, all I did was house tracks. Not sure what I was going to do with them yet. But I did like 100. I got binge right. I could not work for 3 weeks, a month, and then work for 2 weeks and do like 25, 30 joints in the 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So during pandemic, what else was there to do? So I was in the house just knocking joints out. And it's turned in what's coming now. I got a big shocker one for you, talking about people who don't do house and R&B in house. I got Christopher Williams on the house track.
Y'all gonna release it, or yeah, this is just
no. It's definitely, I just want the rollout to be right. That's the only reason. It's the only reason why it's not the release for this one. That I'm releasing Friday on the 7th.
And is the music I can, you know, it's streaming everywhere, all that, or I got to go somewhere to your website?
My artist name is Free the Dreamer.
Okay.
And all you gotta do is put in Free the Dreamer. It's the Dreamer, like the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, this is the 4th single from this project. You know, and I'm trying to release a new single every 8 to 12 weeks.
Wow.
For the next 2 years. You know what I mean?
What's the idea behind that?
I want to spend next summer in Ibiza. You know,
gotta have a goal.
And I also want to put people on house joints who's never done house joints. Like I'm talking to Jackie McGee right now about getting on one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because again, that's Big Sis. You know, these are, you know, people who really taught us stuff. Who else? This I don't want to spoil it, but Chris' record is done. It's done and mixed. So and when I tell you that he sounded like Teddy Pendergrass and Colonel Abrams had a baby on this joint. Yo, he bodied this record.
Wow, I haven't heard the name Colonel Abrams in so long. Oh my God.
God bless him. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man, for sure.
That was another one.
One, I hope you do the podcast. 2, I hope you do something else to capsulize all these verbal moments. And it's cool I'm doing the podcast, but I hope that it's somewhere in some compact booklet where it can be read. You know, so many people, and you have relationships where you can just pick up the phone and just tell me. And I just want to see that get lost, man.
And I owe all that to my mother, man. My mother, God bless her. I lost her like 2 years ago.
I'm sorry.
And it's funny. I was just watching the new Marlon Wayans special this morning before I got on with you. And it's called Good Grief. I can't believe I don't even know this nigga. I'm doing a commercial for him. It's called Good Grief. And he's basically talking about he just lost both his parents. And yo, what he said on it was so real, and it just made me start remembering it. Like I would, you know, don't get it twisted. I'm still a nigga from the Bronx, but it was very emotional for me upstairs in my kitchen maybe an hour ago. You know what I mean? Because he breaks down in the middle of the special, like literally just breaks down, and I knew that pain. And she is just, I mean, I had lots of help, lots of mentors, and Tume was a mentor of mine. You know, and most of these people I knew since childhood. Wow. You know what I mean? You know, they the people that's like, yo, leave that street shit alone, homie. You got a talent. You know what I mean? Wow. And all these people, but the main catalyst for everything good about me was Joyce Smith, bro, my mom's. You know what I mean? So everything I do is in honor of her and to make her proud where she's at. You know what I mean?
I dig it. Free, man, I appreciate all this information. you went a couple of directions where I could even dig into over there. And as soon as you said Taana, Gardner, and Heartbeat, and my brain kind of almost
Funky Sensation. Funky Sensation, bro.
Those some classic, man, and got me through my childhood. So some of the stuff that you're saying, I hear music in the streets. All this is my childhood, and man, without those songs, I don't know if I would have made it. You understand?
Those songs. And let me give a quick shout to Donnie Linton. And again, let me give a shout to Vincent Davis. I don't like everything about him, but I would not be what I am without those men. Donnie Linton did not have to go, yeah, okay, let's bring this 13-year-old little fat nigga on tour with us. You know what I mean? You know, I looked like an 8. I had a big afro. I was round. It was hilarious. Without him, and Vincent Davis did not have to. And Timmy Regisford, you know, he didn't have to take out tape to this guy. You know what I mean? These people are very much, and salute to them always. Always. Good, bad, and different. Always salute to them.
No, well, salute to you, man, for your time, your patience. I appreciate it again.
6 months. Let's meet 6 months. Let's meet back up. I'll have a whole new slew of stories for you.
I'm gonna keep you on that too. I'm gonna hit you on the text and say, hey, it's about that time, bro.
Well, I got you locked in my phone. Lock me in.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And but I'm coming out that way because I like Houston. I like Dallas.
Okay.
Off air, I'll tell you a very funny Houston story that's gonna make you, I guess, hilarious. But you know, it's my pleasure, man. And shout out to Eddie F for putting us together. Absolutely, man. And AB. AB is the one. He literally chased me down in the club. I was supposed to call him back at a certain time, and I didn't. And he cursed me out in the club and dragged me outside to call Eddie.
Wow. Gotta love Eddie, man. Eddie is another one with a whole bunch of stories, and he's a great connector of people. Eddie is one of the most underrated producers in this game ever. Wow. The bass line alone, I want somebody to love me for me. That bass line is one of the illest bass lines ever, and nobody talks about Eddie. Nah, I got nothing but love for Eddie, man. He's a good brother. Every time I need something, he comes through for me. So, man, nothing but respect. Just holler at me, keep in touch, and I'll keep you in the loop of what's going on with the pod. I may have to call for ask for some advice because that's you saying that I'm walking in. You know what I mean? I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Mr. Free. I appreciate you, brother. Take care. Call me Mr. Free, man. I ain't that. The way I talk, a few years old, I call him Mr. Case, man. That's the way I talk. I appreciate you, brother. Salute back to you, man. Take care of yourself. Yes, sir.